Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? Well, we've got the information for you right here. And Dave's going to tell you about it.
Absolutely, guys. We use this awesome application called Anchor FM. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First off, it's free.
And who doesn't like free?
Yeah, free's huge. That's what got us involved with it. Second of all, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. So you don't need all those fancy gadgets. You can have them if you want them, but not absolutely necessary.
Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and many other platforms.
Which is great. More people can hear us.
Who doesn't want more people to hear us?
I mean, I like to be heard.
I like to talk.
Another great thing is you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Like 0 people could listen to you and you could still possibly make some money.
That's amazing.
How does that even happen? It's everything you need right here to make a podcast in one place.
It's a one-stop shop and it's all you need. Anchor FM.
Yeah, so you guys, if you want to start this podcast, go to anchorfm.com to get started. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Apogee Podcast. Welcome to Season 2. My name is David Carter.
My name is Kevin Harrington.
Kevin, it's so great to have you here on the show, buddy.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here, Dave.
Yeah, man. You had a long week over in Nashville this past week, yeah?
I did.
Tell the folks a little bit about that.
I had the opportunity to shoot the Maui Invitational this year. Because of COVID restrictions, they moved it to the mainland. And so all the teams were in a bubble, and I was considered second. I was actually considered third tier, which also the ESPN photographer and the AP photographer were considered third tier. And all that was a local temperature check and a survey we had to pass every time we came in.
Do you know how they chose Asheville from Maui?
I think, I don't know. I can give you my opinion. I think it's just the size. Yeah. I think it's the size of the arena and their ability to get it done. Such
a bummer. It was so close, but nobody could go watch.
Yeah, there was no fans.
That was crazy.
If you look at my Instagram account, the photo I posted today, it was the weirdest thing. You know, you've got a 15,000 seat arena, and the only people that are in there are the teams and their people and whoever runs the scoreboard and whoever is allowed media access. That's it.
Did they have oversound, like
they
fans
had
and all that? They
had piped in music, piped in crowd noise, and all that's adaptive. Because I took a picture looking down at it, and it's adaptive to how the score is going.
That's awesome.
But not really.
I mean, it is awesome because at least for viewers on TV, it seems somewhat normal.
Did you watch it? I didn't get to see it.
Yeah, I watched it. It was great.
Could you tell that there were no fans?
There was no fans in the seats, but the sound was fine.
Okay.
So, anyways, if you guys are interested, if you're not following Kevin yet, which I'm sure a lot of you are because he has a lot more followers than I think all 3 of us in this room do combined, go on Instagram and follow him. He's got some awesome photos of the Maui Invitational College basketball hoops. Before we get into today's episode, I do want to go over our sponsors again. We've got CrossFit Greer still for Season 2. If you're interested in getting involved in CrossFit and you're in the Greer area, go ahead and look them up. Jen and Reagan Green own the gym. Mention the Apogee Podcast to them, and they will give you 10% off your first month's membership.
And is Blitz Belts still sponsoring?
We still have Blitz Belts.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Chris Kane coming in strong.
It's a great belt company. I've used them from day one.
Yeah, you photographed them from day one. Yep. So go on to blitzbelts.com. Great weightlifting belts. Chris Kane makes them by hand. He's got his own shop with a sewing machine. Every single belt that you purchase or people purchase from there has been made by Chris Kane. Pick out your favorite belt. He has an awesome application where you can customize your own belt, and he can even fit it exactly to you with this neat online application. Go to checkout, punch in Apogee, all caps, APOGEE at the discount, and you will get 15% off discount on that purchase. Do it for Christmas.
Reward yourself. It's really worth it.
Totally. All right, moving into the first episode of Season 2, we have got Mr. Beastmode himself, Paulo Passini. So, Paulo, I have actually. Paulo was probably. He was my first friend that I met in Greenville, South Carolina.
I want to know the story.
How touching. Oh, we'll get into that.
Okay,
we will get into how me and Paulo met.
Okay.
But yeah, Paulo, great person. He's been around the CrossFit community for a very long time now. Has competed in various competitions around the upstate. Probably, in my opinion, one of the best all-around CrossFitters in the area when it comes to anything from lifting to swimming. I think he's probably the most well-rounded individuals in the sport in this area. So that being said, Paulo, you're on this very high pedestal right now. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey man, thank you. I appreciate you inviting me over.
Yeah.
Season 2, huh? Wow.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
You're kicking it off.
you are, dude.
Wow.
Is this your first podcast?
This is my very first one. Yes, sir.
Are you nervous?
I am a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. You know me too well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And especially coming after, Kevin and Allison and some of the, Gordon last time. I mean, you guys, they're amazing. It kind of set the bar real high here. So,
yeah,
I'm a little nervous,
dude,
but
you're fine.
Oh, well.
They
Just pretend
did
we're all
do
naked.
Oh
It
gosh.
works well that way.
Oh, I cannot unseen that. Okay.
me and Kevin both have pretty Kevin's got a stellar beard going on right now.
Hey, yours is growing in.
Mine's
man. I'm telling
coming
you,
in,
stick
so
with it, you'll be fine.
there's nothing beautiful about this. Paulo, tell us a little bit about your upbringing. Like, where are you from? Where were you raised? What kind of family life did you have growing up? All that.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So a lot of people actually don't know this about me, but I was born and raised in Brazil. I moved to West when I was 20, and then I'll get to it in a little bit. But anyways, growing up, just your typical Brazilian person, where our biggest sport is soccer. I always played soccer growing up. That's my favorite sport, and it's actually pretty competitive even when you're a kid. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about when I was already 10 or 11 years old. I'm from a big city in Brazil. So basically there's 3 main soccer clubs where I came from. Okay. And then the youth divisions there, they actually recruit players from other states, other countries. So it's pretty competitive soccer, playing growing up.
Do they have their own pro league, like the German league, the Bundesliga, and like the Italian league?
Yes.
What is it called there? What do they call it?
It's called Brazilian League.
Okay, all right.
That's how they call it. You get all these kids and they dream about becoming professional soccer players, and most of them are actually pretty poor.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up, my family actually, we were middle class growing up, but I was actually a lot with some very poor people. And now as we get close to Christmas, this is something that I always tell my daughter, because thankfully I'm able to provide, but like I said, I've seen both sides of things, where those little kids, they'll get a cleat, pair of or used soccer ball, mm-hmm. and they'll be so happy. Mm-hmm. That would make their year, like their Christmas. And then we're here, people like get so much.
Right.
So growing up, I've seen both sides playing sports. I have a younger brother, an older sister, and they're all still in Brazil. My parents still in Brazil. They're all in Brazil. And,
what part of Brazil specifically, if you feel like saying it?
Yeah, it's called Belo Horizonte. I know most people here, they never heard of, but it's a pretty big city. Okay. I just looked at it today, and they said I think it's right at 1.5 million people.
That's a lot of people.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then I end up here in Anderson.
I only asked that because I have a friend of mine who I went to high school with, and she was an exchange student, and she was from Brazil. She was from Rio.
Yeah.
And so I've
Rio's beautiful, man. Y'all need to go there one year. You'd make.
So how far away is your city from Rio?
It's about an 8-hour driving, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
how far is it to the city of Brasilia that's in the middle of the...
So it's kind of in between Rio and Brasilia. So it's another 8 hours, but on the opposite direction.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Look at you, man. You know your geography.
I find that kind of stuff amazing. I mean, it's I think it's important to know where you're from.
Yeah.
When the World Cup was in Brazil not too long ago, right?
It was in 2014.
Right. So was that in Rio?
It was kind of all over the place.
Okay.
So we had in Rio, São Paulo, Brasilia, Belo Horizonte. So you do have like different places, and then they kind of eliminate each other, and then they play the final game in Rio. That's how it goes.
All right, so I know, I'm asking this question.
Go
real quick.
for it.
So I know he wasn't a player from Brazil, but Maradona, what is your feelings about him and his passing and everything?
Man, these guys, he knows all kind of stuff. But anyway, so in South America, it's because of soccer. Argentina and Brazil, it's a very big rivalry in Brazil. And then if you're Brazilian, you say Pelé was the best of all time. If you're Argentinian, you know, they'll fight you and they'll say Maradona's, was the best of all time.
The hand of God.
Yes. But anyways, I mean, he was amazing. You watch some of his videos and you start learning a little bit about the guy. I mean, like, he was amazing. I mean, I don't know who was the best of all time. I'm probably gonna get, somebody's gonna beat me up when I go home. But honestly, like, they were like amazing, both of them.
That's
so
awesome.
Similar to sports here, a lot of kids, they start baseball, soccer, football at a very young age, and very quickly they start to specialize in a position in that sport. Was that similar for soccer for you? Did you start specializing in a certain position in soccer that was like your spot on the field? Or did you kind of develop into an all-around player, and as you got better and better, like into your teenage years, you were a forward?
Yes.
Correct.
But basically, believe it or not, I used to be a defender, which is the opposite.
Okay.
And as you grow up, you kind of start figuring things out, see where you like better. And then you move around. And that's what kind of happened to me. I really didn't like playing as a defensive player. I kind of like to score goals, and, that's the fun part.
Yeah.
And when I was maybe 13, 14, that's when I was like, nah, I'm just going to go for it. I'm a striker. I'm not going to be very tall. We usually get tall defenders.
Sure.
And I'm just going to go for it, see what happens.
Sweet. So as far as going back to that league, that city league that you were talking about, where kind of the developmental league, sounds like there's various brackets of, from beginners to very advanced and everything in the middle. How far up that bracket did you get to where you were playing at? What level were you playing in Brazil?
So I was at the in my city at the highest level growing up, and you do have kind of place like CISA. You do have places like that. But the one that I was playing growing up, it's very competitive. So like I said, people come from other states, so they leave their house at the age of 10, 11, and they go and then they move in. They live in, they sleep in a dorm. They wake up, they eat in the cafeteria, and then they go practice, and then they go to school, and then back to practice. So it was very competitive growing up. And like I said, you got to be very good to play at that level.
So would you guys destroy the CISA team here?
I guess, yes. Because like I said, that's all kids growing up in favelas.
Yeah.
You know what favela is?
Yeah, I was about to ask you. Well, I wasn't. When you said middle class, I was like, no, you wasn't in the favelas.
No, I wasn't. But honestly, like, they're the best players.
From my understanding, I mean, I used to coach kids soccer. That's why I know a little bit about it. And from my understanding, you have a kid that comes from that kind of area, and it's across the board. If they're passionate about it, a lot of times that's their only way out.
Yep.
That's how basketball is in America, and that's how baseball is in America. That's their ticket to freedom.
Sure, absolutely.
And so those kids see that. I mean, my heart goes out to them. And I don't mean to take the time, but I coached the kid, and he now coaches up in Charlotte, but he went to college and played, and he came from, he wasn't, his mom worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken. His dad left when he was young. It's the story that everybody wants to hear, and I find that amazing. My question to you is about the league. Is it still possible for kids to come out of the favela to make it the professionals?
Yeah, I'll even say like most of them are there all.
But do they have to pay? Like, we have CISA here, like, so you have to pay to play. So do they have that? I mean, obviously you said they had some kind of stuff like that, but do they have it for the kids, or is it a state like level kind of thing where they come in and see like a group of kids that are great, let's weed them out and then send them on? Or
yes, that's basically how you do have like you said, places like CISA. where they just go in, they pay, and and everybody gets to play. And then you also have the side where you go to combine, and if you make it to the team, great. It could be, the next year you're there for a year, but the next year somebody better comes, then you're out. They'll send you back home. We're talking about like this place that I played at age of 12. Some of these kids that came from other states, they're actually making a little bit of money. They're not allowed to sign a professional contract by law, but they would get money, and they would send them money to their families to support them. And then we're talking about 12-year-old kids. Yeah. Another thing is, which is, it's amazing how people have it here. The CISA complex, you look at it, you see 12, 14 soccer fields, and they're all grass. Growing up, I used to play like out on the street, no tennis shoes, and just get a couple socks and make a little ball out of it, and then let's just go play, man.
Yeah, man, I've heard those stories. I've never met anybody who actually lived that life. That's amazing.
Yeah,
that is really amazing.
And that's something I want to teach my daughter. I want to provide everything for her, but also I want her to understand that there's places in the world that people don't have it. So I want her to actually value everything that she gets. Makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. I think that's huge. That's awesome.
I think in America, a lot of kids, and I'll say I'm right in the vein. We don't take advantage of what we do have, and what is afforded to us. I mean, if you want to be something, you can be it. You just have to apply yourself, because it's offered. You can be a great guitar player, you can be a great photographer, you can be a great football player. You just have to. You have to teach the kid that mindset, and that's one of the keys. If you could turn that on in a kid at a young age, then it's amazing to see that happen.
I agree.
Yeah, I think exposing kids to all areas of life and all walks of life when they're young is huge. I think especially in this area right here, I love living in this area, but it is very much of a bubble, so getting outside of this bubble and understanding that there's a great big world out there at a young age is huge for development. I know for myself, like I lived in northern New Jersey till the age of 10, so I was frequently around all walks of life, going into New York City and all that. And I think that's helped me be able to communicate as an adult to all kinds of people who come into our clinic. So I totally 100% agree with both of you. Soccer brought you to the United States. How did that happen?
Man, that's a crazy story. So, growing up, getting out of high school, playing soccer at the competitive soccer in Brazil, you either become professional or you got to go, continue life. Mm-hmm. So, I was in a place where the opportunity kind of presented. So we had a combine in São Paulo, which is 7-8 hours from my city. And the coach from University of Louisville came down to watch all of us play. Anyways, I ended up going to São Paulo because at that point I wasn't going to make it. I wasn't good enough to make the Brazil professional leagues. But I was like, in my mind, 18-year-old coming out of high school, hey, and somebody tell you, hey, there's an opportunity for you to go to United States to play soccer for 4 more years and then get a free education. Are you interested? I said, man, that'll be awesome, So I kind of went to São Paulo, and I got recruited there. I had an offer to go to Louisville University, and I accepted. But then you got to think about it. You actually got to take a few tests, written tests, and in order to get accepted. And when I took the test, man, I failed miserably.
Were they personality tests, like the Wonderlic test?
Well, the ACT, but the problem is I learned Spanish in high school. I would do everything I could in order to stay away from English. And when I had to take the test, I found out I didn't know anything.
So there's basically no ACT or SCT equivalent in Spanish?
Nope.
Wow. Just to kind of preface this,
or at least they didn't have it when I took it.
In Brazil, people speak Portuguese. So your second language that you learned in high school was Spanish.
So I had a choice, you either go to Spanish or English. And like I said, man, for some reason I hated speak English. Never tried to learn. So I decided to take Spanish. I guess it's because it's easier for me to learn Spanish. It's a lot closer than English. And like I said, like my day would be literally, I would go to school in the morning, and at about 1 o'clock, my dad would take me to a bus. This bus would drive 1 hour away to the place where we'd practice. I'd stay there till 7 p.m. that day. Then the bus drives you home. I'd get home 8 p.m., eat dinner, go to sleep, do the same thing.
Wow.
So I did that growing up.
How many days a week?
5 days, and then on Fridays I would go and stay there, and then I would stay in the dorm with all the other players, trying to get ready for the game next day.
Was that 365?
It's 8-9 months of the year.
Wow.
And again, I'm 12 years old, so I tried the easy way in high school. So they say, you want English or Spanish? I'm gonna go with Spanish
For sure.
So I had to take the test, and I didn't pass. But then I had the opportunity to go to a small school in Tennessee. I believe it's 1 hour away from Memphis. Because I don't know. I went there. I didn't even know where it was on the map. It's called, I think the city name is McKenzie. And the name of the college was Bethel College. That's where I ended up going. So yeah, because
how
they
did
did
that happen?
accept, they accepted my scores for some reason.
Okay.
But it's a small school in the middle of nowhere.
So you took the ACT. You got recruited to play at Louisville. Before you went to Louisville, you had to take the ACT. You didn't pass it, but somehow you were still stuck in like a portal or something.
Yeah.
Where colleges could be like, all right, I'm going to pick this
They
guy.
could see my videos and stuff like that.
Gotcha. So they saw your videos. Your ACT was just good enough for you to meet their standards.
Yes.
And so you went to Bethel College in Tennessee.
Correct.
Perfect.
It's amazing. That's I always told my kids when I coached them, I said, look, you know, if you want to play, you can play. You may not play at Clemson, you may not play at UCLA, you know, you may go to a small school, but the main thing is if you want to keep playing and you want an education, then that's a great way to go.
Absolutely.
So I've heard a little bit of this backstory, but I know a lot of people do not know this story. So going from a very large city in Brazil, speaking Portuguese pretty much exclusively, and then moving to McKenzie, Tennessee at Bethel College, which I'm assuming is a very small school in the middle of the South in the United States, where everybody spoke English and probably didn't even speak Spanish, let alone Portuguese. How did that work?
So yeah, man, to be honest with you, it wasn't a good experience on my first year, to be honest with you. So again, in my mind, coming from Brazil, you see United States, you know, you think about Clemson, UGA, Michigan. So you think like, man, it's going to be awesome. I'm just going to go there and play soccer and it's going to be amazing. And then I ended up McKenzie. I think they had like 2,000 people. That's the population of the city. Didn't have any friends. As I mentioned before, I couldn't speak English. You know, so I'm there in the middle, like of nowhere. Eating the food was completely different from me, which I didn't like it. Like, you know, cafeteria food is not good. And then when you have to, it's the same thing if you go to China right now. They'll probably make you eat something that you don't like. You know, it takes years for you to start liking certain stuff. It's not home cooking, man. So I had trouble adapting, to be honest with you. No friends, couldn't communicate. I hated the food, and then you kind of like, man, I'm in the middle of nowhere. You know, you look around, you just see corns and farms, and you don't see anything. And growing up, you know, from a big city, it's completely different. So my first year wasn't very good.
How did you communicate with the coach?
Thumbs up. So usually it works, I don't know, 80% of the time. He's like, hey, you good today? Are you hungry? Thumbs up. You know, are you going to class? Thumbs up.
Wow.
And then sometimes he'll ask you a question. Hey, I don't know. He'll ask something and then you put thumbs up and then you see him laughing at you. You know, I mean, but like I said, I can understand.
You had no idea what he was saying.
No idea what they're saying.
How did you get through classes though?
So, I took like tennis class my freshman year. I took tennis. I took the basic. They had a basic English. The English class was English 101, that year they created a English 001 because we did have some Chinese students there as well, kind of in the same boat as me. So I took very basic classes on my freshman year in college.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So
But
did
not
you
really.
have a roommate?
I did.
Did you guys communicate at all?
No, he was Australian.
Wow.
I said it was amazing and then not really. But what I mean by saying not really was that it seems like the school wasn't prepared for you.
I don't think so.
That's what I mean.
No,
by that.
I agree with you.
So
On top of that, I did have a pretty bad injury towards the end of the season, which made me even more miserable at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So no friends, no family, bad injury. You don't know what's going on. You go to physical therapy. They ask you questions. You don't know what they're saying. So again, like my first year, I didn't like it. I was ready to go home. But then Coach Rob Miller out of Anderson kind of got in touch with me, saw some videos, see me play before, and he reached out and said, hey, you want to give it a shot here, Anderson?
So that's Anderson University.
Anderson University.
Right,
nice.
right where Kevin's
AU.
from. So when you were playing at Bethel College on the team, were you kind of shocked at the difference in talent from going from Brazil to Bethel College and that league that they played in, or how was that?
Yeah, man, 100%. It's completely different. How I used to play and how people play here. It's just like if I growing up playing the favelas out on the street, you get pretty skillful with the ball. Like, so you can dribble, you can take 3, 4, 5 touches before you pass, and that's Brazilian, that's Argentinian soccer. Here in the West, they're closer to, I would say, the English soccer, which 1-2 pass, 1 pass, 2 touches, and I remember coach like yelling at me because I touched the ball 3 times and 4 times, and I'd get yelled at. I had no idea what he was saying, but I know it wasn't good. But that was the biggest difference.
Sure.
I'm trying, like in Brazil, they teach you kind of have they say ginga. It's a Brazil Portuguese word. But it's kind of something you're born and you develop, which is good. I'll take you 1-on-1 and dribble you. But here in the US, I feel like they'll tell you need to pass.
Sure. Yeah.
So that was the biggest difference for me.
We had an exchange student when I was in high school, and his name was Gomez Gonzalo, and he was from Colombia, and he said, and I'll remember to this day, he goes, in Colombia, soccer is an art. In America, soccer is war.
Agree. Yeah, same thing.
That's an awesome. I love that. That's a hilarious analogy.
I mean, literally, when he said it, we all just kind of like it was funny. It was the funniest thing we had heard because you're exactly right. I mean, I coached kids, and we would always have the dust ball cloud of kids that would just run around.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But like I said, it's not like right or wrong. It's just like how I was brought up. So I had to change completely, which is fine. But like I said, there's no right or wrong. It's just different.
Sure, absolutely. So when you got to Anderson, you're still not speaking English, right?
And then I started to. That was already 1 year in the US. I started to understand better than I could speak. But I can start at least understand when people are talking to me after my first year.
So do you feel like that class at Bethel helped you understand English, or was it more just being thrown in the ocean and having to learn it?
Man, the teacher would sleep in class.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's like the human brain is amazing.
Right.
By being thrown, like you said, like in an environment, like it might take you 5-6 months a year, but you're eventually gonna learn. You have to, or else you need to adapt.
Right.
So the English class was terrible. Like I said, the teacher would sleep in class. But like I said, you are United States, so people are gonna talk to you in English. So at some point, then you're gonna start, getting.
Yep.
The
brain is an amazing thing.
I do remember the y'all. I studying Brazil. Like I was like, I don't remember seeing this.
I'm totally gonna get into that part later when I first met you. But getting into Anderson University, you get on their soccer team, you start picking up English a little bit more, you start making friends.
Yes. So Anderson was different. I guess because I could start at least understanding people. It was a lot better experience. People would actually go out of their way to help me out. I mean, cafeteria food was still bad, but like I would still like this time friends would, you know, drive me to Wendy's and buy me, you know, fast food, which if you're in college nowadays, I know it's terrible for you, but in college you're like, man, this is awesome, you know, especially if you get used to eating cafeteria food every day, and now you have, you know, your teammates picking you up and taking you to places. So, and then things start getting better for me.
Good. Okay, so this is where we kind of get into our connection. So you're at Anderson University, you're on the soccer team, your future wife, Brooke, is on the softball team. My wife, Laura, is on the softball team. Y'all connected through sports. Talk a little bit about that.
So I don't know, man. So we're on the soccer team. Our team literally was a bunch of foreign students. Out of the 25, 26 people, 20, 21 were from, you know, I was from Brazil. We had a Jamaican, we had a French guy, a German guy, a British, Australian. We had people like from all over the place in our team. And I guess we're the crazy ones. But anyways, on the girls' side, on the girls' soccer team, Kristen Page, she was Brooke's best friend. And she kind of was the one that kind of introduced me to Brooke. You know, I'd go like, I like your friend.
I like your friend.
Tell her to come a soccer game.
That's great. I remember them telling us stories like you'd be scoring a goal, you'd see Brooke in the stands, and you'd hold up the heart sign.
Oh gosh,
running past and stuff.
Oh yeah,
he's such a romantic guy.
Oh yeah.
Anderson's always been known for having a lot of international players. I mean, their first coach was Rick Wright. He was from the Bahamas. So I mean,
that's awesome. I truly don't believe probably anybody listening to this podcast really knew your complete background story and how you got here. So you married Brooke, came to Greenville after you guys graduated. Brooke started working at Powdersville High School, and you got connected with the YMCA.
Yeah, but before that, we lived in Rock Hill for a year. Well, this was before we got married. Well, we were engaged. I was start working at the Y in Rock Hill. So she was already in Greenville. And then we got married. And that's when I moved to Greenville.
Okay.
And then I started working at the Y in Greenville. Basically it was just like, with a little bit of experience that I got at the YMCA in Rock Hill, they hired me right away. And also John, he went to Anderson University. And
John
he was
who?
Hamrick. And he was the one that hired me. So, but I already knew him from college as well. But yeah.
Yeah, so you started working at Kane Halter YMCA.
Correct.
And I knew it was John Hamrick. The folks didn't know it was John Hamrick. What's up, John? Love you, man. So John started doing a little bit of CrossFit, right? And he comes up to you and says, hey, I'm thinking about starting a program at the YMCA. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I think that was when the game started to really pick up on TV, and people would watch the games and say, man, I wanna be like that guy. I wanna look like that, that guy. And then John, Mark, Jeff started to bring the concept of CrossFit to the Y. But they didn't have that nice area in the back though. They started out of a couple of barbells, dumbbells. And they would go in the group bonus room, and they would do a Beastmode / boot camp in there at Kane Halter. And then it kind of grew fast, and then that's when we built that real nice facility that they have now over at Kane Halter.
And that was probably back in what, 2013, 2014?
13 to 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the experience like when John's like, hey, Paulo, come do Beast Mode with me? Were you pretty receptive to that at first?
So I was the kind of guy that you wear the Gold's Gym gloves and you do bodybuilding, and you're looking at yourself in the mirror, and then you do an ab set, and then kind of lift up the shirt and see that little.
So he's from Brazil, so we would expect nothing else.
Of course.
Of course not. Super.
Yep, you're wearing like the tank top and too.
Oh yeah,
he's got the gold chain, his head shaved.
Do you have like the running shorts on?
Multicolored.
No.
We got like the hot pink shirt and the green shorts.
Wow. So anyways,
See what the United States thinks about Brazil.
yeah. Wow.
Just kidding.
But I was just lifting weights, and John said he showed up, and he said, and I remember he said, let's do Angie. I said, excuse me, sir. Let's do Angie. I was like, okay. And then he kind of explained what he was and what Angie was. Which, do you know what it is, Kevin?
Not right offhand. I try to stay away from the girls.
Yeah.
As much as I can.
Yeah, they mean that's 100 pull-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and 100 squats for time. So that was Angie.
That was the first thing they made us do at Southern Moon when we came in.
Well, they're just 4 basic movements, right? That
Correct.
everybody
Just
would think
body
would be
weight.
Easy. Yeah.
And that's basically what he was saying. And then I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm gonna crush this. 100 pull-ups. Man, I can do sets of 25. Like, it ain't no problem. You know what I mean? And then we started the workout. And I think I did my first set 20 to 24 pull-ups. And I was like, and it was kind of like the halfway pull-ups too. You think you're doing the full pull-up,
Sure,
the elbows are locked and chin above the bar, but it wasn't like that. It was just like the kind of halfway reps. But anyways, I didn't know. And then I got like 24. I was like, man, I'm gonna finish this in 3 more sets. And then after the 24th, and then I got on the bar and it was like 25. Oh no.
It hit you.
It hit you. It hit me bad.
Yeah.
And then basically I went singles from there.
Yeah. Oh
and then
my
same thing
goodness.
on the push-ups, sit-ups, and squats.
All right. So who won that first workout?
He got me.
He got you.
Yeah. And he was like, because he already got on the bar and he was already doing the butterfly.
Oh really?
And I was
Okay.
like, what is he doing? I didn't even know that the concept of the butterfly pull-up then, but he did. So yeah, he crushed me on that one.
That's awesome. So right then, were you hooked, or were you like, I'm gonna help you grow this program, or did he force you to grow this program?
And then right there, they were finishing up the building in the back, and I started watching the games, and then that's when I was like, man, that's pretty cool. And then brought back the competitive aspect of it too, because I was soccer growing up, being competitive, and then college, and then kind of had like a 3 or 4 year where I wasn't being competitive in anything. Mm-hmm. And then the building was ready. And I was like, I saw the games. I was like, man, that's pretty cool. I want to give it a shot.
That's awesome. It is correct to say that Kane Halter had the first Beastmode program in the area, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys literally are the founders. You guys built Beastmode from the ground up.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the cool thing is, a lot of people don't know, is kind of becoming its own little little thing around here. There's I think 12 or 13 beast modes in South and North Carolina now. So yeah, it's growing.
I think it's really cool.
Did I shoot the first Beast Modes games?
Yes, you did, sir.
Wow. Now I feel honored. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty cool. I remember. Well, let's get into a little bit how I met Paulo real quick. I'll tell you the story real quick.
CrossFit, baby.
CrossFit.
I remember seeing you in a wedding.
Yeah.
In Barnwell.
Yep.
South Carolina.
Yep.
Casey's and Mark's wedding.
That's right. So I met my wife Laura in PT school. We were we had just got married. Yeah, we were just got married and we were living up in Michigan. And one of Laura and Brooke's best friends, Casey, was getting married in Barnwell.
I think so.
Right outside Aiken, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we go down there, and this is a Southern Baptist wedding, right? So they set up a hotel for us that the wedding party could stay in, and it was like old school where my wife and me actually shared a room with Paulo and Brooke in queen size beds, right? Wow. So I had never met these people ever, and I'm like, where are we staying at? She's like, oh, we're staying at the Holiday Inn. I'm like, oh, that's great. She's like, yeah, we're staying with my friends Brooke and Paulo. And I'm like, wait, what? And they're like, yeah, they booked the room. We're sharing a room together. I was like, what kind of wedding is this?
True story.
So Brooke knew your wife and you,
yeah.
right?
Right. Laura knew Brooke and Paulo, yeah.
Because they play softball.
But you were nowhere near Anderson.
No. I grew up in Michigan.
All right. I knew you grew up in Michigan.
Yeah. So me and Laura, moved to Michigan when I was 10. But me and Laura met during grad school. So this was after she was at Anderson University.
Okay.
Yep. So we go down to, I'd never been really to the upstate area before. So we go to this wedding, and they had the rehearsal the day before. So Laura's like, here, you can just hang out with Paulo for the day while we do our girls stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, what's he into? She's like, oh, he's like, Brooke said he just started doing CrossFit. And I was like, oh, perfect. I've been doing CrossFit for a while. I was like, all right, we'll be bros right away. And he played soccer, and I grew up playing soccer. I was like, all right, cool. We have a lot in common. So, but I knew he was from Brazil, and I remember going to the church, the rehearsal, and seeing him sitting in a pew. So I went up to introduce myself, and I purposely started talking just, you know how it is when you meet a foreigner, you start talking just a little bit slower so they can understand you.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Right? So that's how it was. And then he talked back. And it just completely threw me off because I thought he was going to have a very thick Portuguese accent. And he spoke fairly good English, but it wasn't just English. It was like a Portuguese Southern drawl English. And it was so weird.
That's from Brooke.
Yeah.
My wife.
I mean, obviously everybody's picked it up so far from this podcast that he has that little Southern drawl.
I like it.
But it was so weird. But anyways, we hit it off. But the first thing Paulo asked me is like, I hear you do CrossFit. And I was like, yeah, I do CrossFit. I'm pretty into it. He's like, what's your Fran time?
Yes.
He's like, what's your Fran time? And
I was gonna say it.
I was like, oh my goodness, what's my Fran time? I was like, oh, I don't know. I haven't done Fran in a while. What's yours? He's like 221 or something like that. And I was like, oh no.
That's everybody's first question when you find out somebody does CrossFit.
Man, you still remember? Because I was gonna bring it up.
Yeah.
I didn't think you'd remember that.
Yup.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Yep.
that was my first question. Hey man, hey.
What was your Fran time? And then
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then he asked me a couple other CrossFit questions, and I was like, all right, well, 220, what was it, like 220 or 220?
No, I think when we met, I had just started, I think it was like in 330, something like that.
No, I know for sure it was in the twos.
But see, like back in the day, in 2013, 14, like the 330 Fran was still like pretty good.
Yeah, but I know it was in the twos because I remember when we got, I think we had to drive from the church back to the hotel, and I drove with Laura, and you drove with Brooke, and then we met back at the hotel. And I remember getting on your Facebook, and the video was posted there, and it was like 220 something. So you were pretty legit.
The only ones I would have ever asked him is what's your Grace time and what's your Isabel time?
Well, he went straight to Fran.
I'm just not getting.
Anyways, we get back to the hotel, and he's like, "Hey man, you want to work out?" And I was like, I guess. So we do like this hybrid workout in the hotel gym, and I'm just dying.
Do you remember?
Yeah, it was. We did box jumps up onto like some ledge. It was a ledge. It wasn't even a box. It was like a window ledge. We did box jumps on that
treadmill,
and what was
handstand push-ups.
Handstand push-ups. That's right.
I want to know what the people that were in the hotel, if they walked by and saw you guys going at it, what they were thinking.
I was pretty happy. I kept up with him for like the first 2 or 3 rounds, but then like I think he finished like a minute ahead of me. But it was fun. So like we hit it off right away, and then we went straight to the bar. But no, it was good. It was a good time. And then at that point, me and Laura had no idea that we were moving down to South Carolina. Like literally the next, I think that was in December. We met Brooke and Paulo, and I met all their friends, and we like all hit it off. And I was like, man, there's such a good group down here. And we were in Michigan in the dead of winter. Like we went from 70 degrees in December back to 0 degrees flying back to Michigan, and we were sitting and we were like, man, let's just move. So we did it, and we were down here like in May. So
awesome.
from December to May, we were here.
Yep.
And the first place we went was to the YMCA to sign up because he was doing Beastmode. So I started training with Paulo like every single morning pretty much for the first year and a half, I guess, that we lived here. And so that's how our friendship kind of sparked through CrossFit.
That was funny because when I was doing those, when I did the Allison Stahl perspective photos, you were in the back, and I was like, that's
Yep. Yeah, I was. That was my home gym at the beginning.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah. So me and Paulo and our friend Scott and Will, who is actually a very good masters athlete at the time. Is he still working out?
He's back into bodybuilding.
Okay. Yeah, I hadn't seen him around in a while.
Yep.
But we threw down a lot. It was probably one of the best years of my life. It was really fun. Hey guys, we'll get back to the episode in a moment here, but we want to take a quick break to thank our sponsor for this episode, CrossFit Greer. If y'all live in the Greer area and are looking to join a CrossFit box, go ahead and look up Jen and Reagan Green, owners of CrossFit Greer. Mention the Apogee Podcast to them, and they will give 10% off your first month's membership.
We also want to thank Blitz Belts for their continued sponsorship of the podcast. They're offering our listeners a 15% discount at checkout. All you have to do is type in Apogee, all caps. That's APOGEE for your 15% off discount.
So building from that, the Beast Mode, you guys had Beast Mode games. And I remember the first Beast Mode games was in the gym. And then from there, it just kind of grew into one of the largest CrossFit competitions really in the upstate into like what, 2017 or 2018?
Might have been 16.
2016.
Yeah.
That was like the heyday, 2016.
Yeah.
It was 2016.
Okay.
But yeah, it got very, very big. That was one of the biggest ones along with the Greenville Games in 2014, where it was huge. It was out in, what high school was that?
That was out. That was the one I competed in. That was out on, I don't know. It was out Augusta Road, like way out there.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, this Beast Mode Games in 16 kind of, it got very, very big. I mean, people coming from other states, you know, John had a bunch of sponsors, some big name sponsors, and they actually had like some pretty cool ideas too that end up not getting, I think because of money, I guess. But it got very big in 2016.
So talk about the connection between Beast Mode and like the actual CrossFit community in the upstate. Do you feel like it was kind of rocky at the beginning because Beast Mode was kind of taking CrossFit and doing it at the YMCA, or do you feel like the relationship has kind of been coming back together? How's that work?
Yeah, I don't know. One of the coolest things that I see nowadays, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it, is like how like everybody comes together and it's a community now. And I think at the time, with Kane Halter, coming up and being so big, we're not really part of the whole CrossFit community, even though all the coaches, they're supposed to be level 1 certified. I feel like at that time we're not really into the around here, because matter of fact, most of the competitors came from outside of the upstate, so we're not like kind of like in a circle, I guess. And probably it's our fault for not reaching out to other places. But yeah, so Beast Mode kind of grew. But it wasn't like the CrossFit. I think people still didn't look at us like, CrossFit just because of the name. No, we did not, because by law you can't.
I know that they tell you that in your certification courses.
Yeah, so we do not call it CrossFit. We could say it's a class, it's a high intensity class led by CrossFit level 1 coaches.
Right.
But that's about it.
Okay. All right. Because I know in Anderson, the Anderson area YMCA offers what it is CrossFit.
Yeah, they're CrossFit affiliated.
So yeah. That's interesting.
So at what point, as you started Beast Mode and essentially CrossFit, were you like, I'm pretty good at this and I kind of want to take it to the next level and train outside of just classes? Talk a little bit about that.
I wouldn't say, I don't know, I wouldn't say pretty good. But I guess watching the games, and at that point, I already had done a few competitions, local Santa Series, Greenville games, with Sergio and some other fit dudes, and we won like a lot of them, and it was just fun to me. And I was like, okay, so what's next? And then you had the Open, and then you had the Granite Games and the Waterpaloozas, and then I was like, okay, well, what if we try to go one of these, and see what happens. And then this was around maybe 16, 17. That's when I start getting to it a little bit more. And that's when you start going to open gym hours and kind of do your own thing instead of just going to class.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you've been to Granite Games?
Yes. 17, pretty cool experience. Some funny stories happening there. Yeah, I loved it. It was so much fun.
That's your biggest event that you've competed in so far?
Yes.
Okay.
Although I did, one of my biggest dream was to compete at a big event in Brazil, which did happen in 2018. Usually I don't go home very often, but that year just happened to be, they would have the event in my town, and right when I was going to go down there, and it was a huge event. Like I'm talking about like I managed to get in the final heat of that day, and at that point we had 7,000 people in the stands watching us.
How many?
7,000.
7,000. Okay.
Yeah. And at that point also they were going live, and I remember like a big screen. So I had my bike facing like a huge screen. It's like if you go to the movie theater, and they went live, and I don't even know how many people were watching us live at that time. And but it was cool.
Pretty cool. You could see yourself working out on the screen.
I could see
so
myself
just
working
like
out.
old times with looking at yourself in the mirror.
I was trying to get
motivated.
Well, that was cool because that was the first time my parents got to see me competing.
That's awesome.
But I remember I was on a salt bike and sanding, and I was trying to get my mind out of it. So I was just watching myself on the big screen, trying to forget about the bike. They hurt.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're terrible.
So,
that's amazing. That's amazing about Brazil. I don't think a lot of people realize is that they are the second biggest practitioners of CrossFit
in the world.
America obviously sends the most, but Brazil is second.
Yep.
That's one of the reasons why CrossFit, when Glassman had it, that's the reason why he changed the whole thing. When they did the country march in the last one before they changed the way it is now, Brazil is huge.
Yeah.
Second largest outside. That's the largest outside the U.S.
Yeah, and
CrossFit boxes.
I don't know if you guys have listened to the latest episode. Well, I guess it's not the latest episode, but one of the last few episodes on Talking Elite Fitness, when Eric Rosa was on there talking about his vision for the International CrossFit Game is. I think it's going to be amazing. Brazil is going to be a huge part of that for sure. Talk a little bit about how do you feel like your soccer background helped you kind of escalate your skills in CrossFit?
I think it helped me on the competitive side, I guess. The mentality, the mindset. Always been competitive growing up. And you know how I am, how competitive I am. I think playing soccer, being exposed to that kind of competition, I think it helped me kind of shape up my mindset, I guess. So, and
we see that time and time again. Soccer players, gymnasts, wrestlers. I mean, those are by far and away, when we look at some of the best CrossFitters, they come from those sports.
I think most CrossFit athletes that are in the top echelon have some form of college sports behind them.
Yeah, for sure.
I've only known one that didn't, and that was Gerald Sasser. So,
yeah, and I think also I said at the very beginning at the intro, you're probably one of the best well-rounded CrossFitters in the area. You might not be the best at one thing, but you're very well-rounded. There's not many people who can, swim, half a mile in a decent time and then get out and clean and jerk over 300 pounds. Like, that doesn't happen very much in this area.
Yeah, so back to your point, at the Granite Games, Valner was there that year. They were on the team. So I was on the team, and one of the events were swim and then run, and I forgot the distance now, but I remember Valner, obviously his off season for him, he's there just for fun, But I remember, I think his time was like 21:58, and my time was 22:08. So I remember like looking at it, I was like, man, I was only like 10 seconds away from Werner. Again, like he's there just for fun.
Sure.
Off season, teams of 3. But still, it's pretty good. But I don't consider myself a swimmer, man. I just think that CrossFitters, they don't see or they don't have the opportunity to get in the water, but it's such a great workout. And that's one of the things that I'm very fortunate, I guess, at the Y, because I do have access to a pool. But like I said, I don't consider myself a swimmer. I know you are very big at swimming, and it's just a great workout, man. Like you can swim. I mean, I know this gentleman at my Y. He's 90 years old, and I used to swim with him, but he would let me, and he's 90. You know, but he does this. He's been doing this for years.
Right.
And swim is one of those things you don't have to stop. You know?
Right.
There's no impact. It's just good for you.
It's amazing.
And the people here, they don't really do it.
Right.
You know, because you talk about CrossFit, people thinking about pull-up bar, barbell, kettlebell, sandbag. Very rare to talk about swimming.
Yeah,
that's the biggest hole in CrossFit communities that I see. Because we did I shot a CrossFit competition in North Carolina, and they had a swimming portion. It was at a YMCA up there or whatever, or it was at a college. And I talked about this on mine. I think I used to swim too. And so basically that was the one event that I was like, I could have done that. I could that, you know, that's because it's kind of sad when you see people, you know, we have Lake Hartwell here. We have all the lakes in the upstate and everything, and people are afraid of open water swimming. You know, and so they either they have a pool in their backyard, or they go to the Y, you know, or they just don't go at all.
Yeah.
You know, and so that becomes a big, and when that comes up in a competition, it's huge.
Yeah.
You know, so
that's what we're gonna. So thanks, man. So Lake Kiwi is gonna be packed with CrossFit swimmers now while I'm trying to get around in my boat.
No, just have them make sure they're swimming in that corded off area.
But yeah, I mean, it's at the games every year. You know, it's just like, it is part of CrossFit too, you know?
Oh, for sure.
I think it's great to watch the swimming aspect of it, especially when you get out of the pool and you have to go to a pull-up rig. Because your hands are so wet. You can't put chalk on. And so, you're either going to slip off that rig, and you have to think about it.
That was my favorite event to watch at the games this year, when they had the, what was it? The bike, the swimming, the med ball, slams, and I don't remember what the other part was.
I love that they're putting bicycles in there.
Amazing.
The GHD?
Yeah, GHD. Yeah, that was an amazing event to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about core killer. And also, I think with soccer, just the way you move when you lift, you are like have one of the quickest hips and elbows I've ever seen. I think those type 2 fibers really play to your advantage for sure. I don't think I know anybody that gets under a bar quicker than you. Let's talk a little bit about the YMCA in general. Who is Paulo Passini, the wellness director? Because Beastmode isn't your whole life now. No. You're the director of the YMCA. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, man. So Beastmode is actually a small portion of what I do. Especially now, I do have coaches other than me, because when I first launched that Beastmode program, Powdersville was basically me running all the classes, and then Tyre came on and started helping. So and I was able to grow the program. True story is, I launched in January, and my association, we have 3 branches, and at the end of the year, I like to pull up a report where I see, attendance in classes. And Beastmode, Powdersville has been number 1 in our association, which is Pickens County Association. Go figure. Beastmode is the most attended class, and since I started, so it's pretty cool.
And when you started, up until 4 weeks ago, you guys were
and that outside. Was when we were outside, exposed to cold, rain, you name it. But we're still the most attended class since 2017, our association.
So what's the average number of participants in a class there?
So now, I can only have 20 in that room. I did have 28 showing up. Like the other day, I had to ask people to go to the 6 o'clock, or just start signing up. But we've been averaging 20 per class.
How many classes do you guys have in the day?
So David just mentioned that we just opened up a new place. It's basically a box. It's a 3,300 square feet in our backyard. So it's right there. It's a beautiful branch, beautiful campus. So, but we literally just opened up. But before that, because we're outside, I honestly kind of held back a little bit because I couldn't grow the program. How would you have a 5 a.m. class and when you have to go outside and it's dark or rainy, or you don't have, you're on the concrete, and I just couldn't grow it. So I only had 2 classes Monday through Thursday, 5 and 6 p.m. in the past 3 years being outside. And again, and it would rain, and rains, like we're trying to figure out, all right, so where's class going to be? In the basketball wall grade, there's 25 people playing basketball now. So what are you going to do? Let's go out in the parking lot, but it's just not ideal.
Right.
The situation that I had. But recently, literally, we opened up a place a month ago. It's pretty sweet, man. I don't know if you've seen pictures. It's a nice place.
I think we're coming to it tomorrow, right?
We are. We're going to go there tomorrow. It's a pretty sweet place now that we have. Amazing. So now I am going to develop the program and I'm going to grow it. We're going to launch our first morning class, like 5 a.m. class, starting December, and we're going to grow from there. But sorry.
No, go ahead. No, I think it's amazing. You were given really basically, here's this,
Yeah.
And you've grown it to this.
Yeah.
And now with the building that you have, it's amazing to see the potential of what you can put into it.
But that's all it takes, man. Like I remember when I started, I would see people lifting weights and I'll go, hey man, you want to come to Beastmode? So I would go individually asking people to come. And then that person, they likes it, and then they invite their cousin, and then they invite their family member, and then they invite their friend. And that's how you grow a class like that. You kind of go out of their way and invite people over. Because my members, they're not the CrossFitters. If somebody go to CrossFit gym, they want to do CrossFit. My members, they want to go to the Y. So what's the perception of the Y today? It's just a gym. Sometimes they're old, but it's just lifting selectorized machines. So that's my membership base. But from there, you try to give them the Kool-Aid and say, hey, we got this going on here. Come check it out.
That's kind of sort of how, I don't mean to take away from that, but that's, to me, everybody I've ever talked to about how they've got started in CrossFit is it was a personal one-on-one kind of connection. Like the person who was the coach would come to you and be like, hey, I think you would fit in this community. Yeah. So I mean, it's the one-on-one,
for
how
sure.
You meet somebody.
Well, I think that's too, but a lot of people that go to an actual CrossFit gym, they Google, all right, I'm in Greer, where's the CrossFit gym?
True.
And they're going to go there, and then
so they go specifically
for CrossFit. Whereas
where mine is like they go to the Y, who happens to have the Beastmode program. But they not necessarily, they could be now, but not necessarily going there just for the CrossFit Beastmode program.
Right. No, I understand what you mean. Yeah. You're actually going and recruiting for your class with the clients that you have on hand.
Correct.
It's cool. It's almost like you started your own little business because, I mean, kind of like Kevin and myself starting businesses, you have to put yourself out there. I think some people think it just happens. It doesn't. Like it takes a lot of groundwork and footwork to get something off the ground.
I see Rebecca kind of doing the same thing out of Eastside Beastmode. Some other places, Tyra potentially in Pickens. So it's pretty cool. But anyways, going back to your question, the wellness director. So Beastmode now is kind of one of small part of my work because in addition to that, I have personal training, I have wellness coaching, I have youth wellness certification, I have we run 230 classes a month, group wellness classes a month. So I'm over all that. Recently we had a kids triathlon, little sprint tri with cool. Kids from the age of 3 to 11. I had to run the event. So that's so Beastmode now it's a little bit of what I do day to day now. I kind of delegate a little bit to my coaches, so that way I can take care of other things.
That's what happens when you grow. You got to delegate. I love it.
Or put stuff on the back burner or back seat, as they say.
That's right. Let's bring it a little bit outside of CrossFit so people can continue to get to know Paul a little bit more outside of just what they know, which is CrossFit and Beastmode. Talk a little bit. You've mentioned Brooke and then your daughter at the beginning, Bella, and how you want to introduce her to everything in life, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Who is Paulo Passini, the husband and the father? What kind of stuff do you guys like to do together?
Oh man, we like to watch TV. Brooke, you know how she is. We like to hike. We just recently went on a hike, and it was fun. You know, they're my everything. Brooke, Bella. You know, it's just like they're always there for me to support. As a father, you know, it's so much fun, man. Like, you get home and she wants to play and she wants to hug you, and I try to teach her Portuguese, and when she talk back in Portuguese with you, like, it kind of makes my day. It's so cute. Yeah. So
How old is she now?
she's 4.
Yeah, me and Bella have a special connection. We share the same birthday.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yep.
The best movie soundtrack, talking about Portuguese, the best movie soundtrack by far is Steve Zissou. It's all in Portuguese.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
Steve Zissou, the movie?
No.
Oh, come on. Life Aquatic with Bill Murray. It's a spoof of, what's the guy? Jacques Cousteau, yeah.
Oh,
And the soundtrack is played by a gentleman who's on the boat, but he's Portuguese. He speaks Portuguese. He's playing an acoustic guitar. The soundtrack is all in Portuguese. It's beautiful.
Really?
It is beautiful.
Kevin, I have to say, I need to spend more time with you, man. Like, I've seen you in competitions taking pictures, but man, you're smart, dude.
He's very well rounded.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And his hair is amazing.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
You definitely have me and Paulo on that.
Yes.
I don't have kids. There's the whole thing.
What kind of hobbies do you have outside of CrossFit and your family? What do you like to do?
I think I just I like to watch movies. I like to watch soccer, Brazilian soccer. This year, so I've been here for 15 years now, and this year I recently discovered that I could buy this little. It looks like a Roku, but now I have access to Brazilian channels now. So I've been here for 15, 16 years. I just now figured that out. So I've been watching a lot of TV in Portuguese and watch soccer. Like, it's kind of like awesome. Because I haven't had it, and I missed that a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But TV, like I said, we go hike. So yeah, that's kind of what I do outside of CrossFit and work.
That's great. So, do you have any like life goals outside of CrossFit and the YMCA that are there that you really want to kind of start heading towards?
Not at the moment. So, I did have an opportunity to. Two opportunities to move to go get a job somewhere else, and I didn't want to take it just because, especially with this expansion where we had, I kind of want to enjoy it now. Kind of want to ride to see where it goes, and then from there, then I'll decide what I'm gonna do. But for right now, I just want to enjoy it. I really like where I am. Brooke teaches at the Powdersville High School, so we are really in our community. Like, I see my neighbors in the gym every day. So it's pretty cool.
Well, you're literally living almost what I would call the American dream, right?
You are. Congratulations.
So you move here from a different country.
Yeah.
You learn English while you live in this country, which is amazing. I mean, I don't think a lot of people knew that. 10 years ago, you didn't even speak English. I mean, you speak,
nothing.
You speak phenomenal English for
don't know
not
about
even
that.
knowing a word. But that's an amazing story. You marry an American girl.
Yep.
You start at the YMCA, probably like lowest man on the totem pole.
Yep. Cleaning equipment.
Exactly. And now you're a wellness director at a major YMCA, just kind of working your way up.
So what was your degree at Anderson College?
Kinesiology.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I can kind of see where you're going with that question.
Sure.
Okay, so obviously you talked about Bethel University and Anderson College and those type of sports communities and how you felt about those and how you feel about Powdersville's community. How, in general, overall, is your opinion, or how has the upstate CrossFit community affected you in your life?
Like I said, my David's one of my best friends, and I actually got connected through CrossFit. I made a lot of friends, talked to a lot of people, Jackson, Sergio, John, I made a lot of, good connections and friends. This is how I see, like, you know, how the upstate community CrossFit has helped me, you know. Before I opened up our box, I actually spent a little bit of time with Jonathan over Five Forks. I mean, they have an amazing facility there. I went there. I don't even think he knew who I was. I didn't really know who he was, but he's like, yeah, man, come on over. I'll talk to you. And then I went there. I asked a lot of questions, because another cool thing is we've been talking about this box for over 1.5 years now, 2 years at RY. And then it didn't happen first. And then a year later, our CEO came to my office, and then he looked me in the eye and say, hey, we're going to do this. Are you ready? Basically said, this is a $1.4 million project. And then I looked him in the eyes. I said, do you trust me? And he shook his head and said, yes. And at that point, I was like, well, now I'm going to make the best thing out of it. But obviously, you're not going to do it by yourself.
Right.
Then I called Jonathan. I talked to David. I talked to Kimmer over CrossFit Clemson. I talk, you know, then you start talking to people, and they always like being always super nice. You know, they open up their arms, say, hey, come talk to me. Let me show you. This is how I would do this instead of this. This is how you should do it. And I don't know. I really appreciate what they've done.
Yeah, Gordon and Jen touched on that last week about opening up, and you know how Gordon was very loyal to CrossFit Simpsonville and those guys, and then when they sold, and how, you know, he went and spent time under other coaches at other boxes, and you know, being able to manage the Simpsonville gym under them for a while. I agree with you. I don't personally own a gym, but I connected with that idea. You know, it's very important that I think, you know, you can get a level 1 cert and go open up a gym tomorrow. You know, but how can you coach? How do you communicate? What are those key words that you say to your athletes, you know, to get them to the next level? And I think that should be a part of the CrossFit training. And
you can see like this CrossFit Beastmode thriving now in the middle of pandemic. And then when you start listening to your podcast, David, you see why. You see the people leading up, you know, it's Allison Stahl, Amy, Brandon, you name it. Like, that's why things, even though in the middle of pandemic now, it's thriving, you know, it's growing. But that's because of, you know, the community. Because you can't do it alone. You know, if you're alone, then you're out, man. You can't do it. Absolutely. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Building these relationships that everybody's building right now between CrossFit owners, Beast Mode programs. I mean, Gordon expressing, you know, his huge interest in incorporating. He says, I hope a ton of people from Beast Modes qualify for Fittest of the Upstate, so that they can shock the world of the Upstate. All the, you know, knock some of these people off their pedestals who think they're just going to walk right in there and get on the podium. You know, they don't know about some of these people coming up from Beast Mode who are just as good, if not better. So I think that's super exciting.
Rebecca, she's a great.
She's
gonna. Yeah, she's gonna be good.
I think the way the community should look at Beast Mode now is it's CrossFit. It's just a franchise. You know,
absolutely.
it's like we're Beast Mode Anderson, we're Beast Mode Greer, we're Beast Mode. You know, and so that's that. If I don't know if that's how you think about it, but I mean, going forward, if that would be my mindset. I would look at it and be like, this is a franchise. I'm going to put this here. You know, I'm going to put level 1 coaches there, and they're going to teach you that. And that way, you know, it's not, because I'll be honest with you. When I first heard about Beast Mode, and I was like, all right, you know, because you don't know. It's like you said, when you go and you go to somebody and say, hey, come try Beast Mode. Well, first of all, it has beast in it. So that's either going to put people off, or it's going to be like, yeah, I want to be a beast. You know, and they don't understand it. You know, so
that's true. I mean, the only reason why I started at Beast Mode when I first came was because I was already friends with Paulo. If it wasn't for that, I would have, you know, gone probably CrossFit Greer right away, because we lived in Greer.
I mean, I would imagine it's actually harder because you got to go through the aspects of it and saying it's kind of like CrossFit, or it is CrossFit. And then you've got, it's like a double layer now. You've got Beast Mode that has that name. Now you've got to say, well, it's CrossFit. Well, I don't want to do CrossFit or I can't do that. I'm not in shape. Let me get in shape first. So
biggest misconception I hear. I want to get in shape before I go to a Beast Mode class. But I agree 100% with what you said. I mean, even place like you look at, is Crash still affiliated? They're not, right?
No.
So I just want to be on the same boat, like we're still like level 1 coaches, great coaches, but we're just not call ourselves CrossFit because we don't pay the fee every year.
I think in hindsight, I think you guys were smart. You guys were first to the mark to not be affiliated. I think the tragedy that happened with Glassman and his remarks and calls all the other gyms to disaffiliate and while we have the gentleman now, may have opened a lot of eyes for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You have a level 1 cert class, you can go get that cert and they tell you in the cert you can coach. You just can't advertise that you're, a CrossFit or whatever. So you can just have your own backyard gym. And I'm a level 1 cert CrossFit trainer, but I'm still going to teach you CrossFit. It's like a cow. You can get the milk for free.
Yep.
And you can go start whatever you want.
And the reason why also, Kevin, is like I said, like I'm not targeting the next, if somebody Googles CrossFit, I'm not targeting that person. Obviously, if they come, that's great. Mm-hmm. But I'm targeting the member that is looking for a YMCA who goes there, and then it's like, wow, this is cool. So
you're offering them an opportunity.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yes,
yeah.
No, it does. You're offering them an option.
So that's why, like the name, even Beastmode, and we're not affiliated, and it's been great.
No, it is very hard because I would talk to my friends and I would be like, why don't you come? Like everybody says this. Why don't you come try CrossFit? Oh no, I can't. It's and it's whereas Beastmode is already in house and people are walking through the building and they see you guys doing that kind of stuff and they see the whole age range. So they know they can pick out somebody in it that's them. Whereas CrossFit is more, it's not hidden away, but it's like you have to physically get up and go there to see what it's about.
That's true.
Whereas Beastmode at a YMCA, it's already there. It's in the community, and so you're just like, it's like a display case. Like you go to like a grocery store and say, hey, I can get a sirloin, but if I walk over here to the better meat case, I can get a fillet.
Yep.
Right.
That's a great mentality to have if you're going to do that, And you've obviously, you guys have done that. So my hat's off to you guys. I toast you guys, for that.
Thank you.
That's thinking out of the box. It really is.
Yep.
For sure. So I think a big question that a lot of people want to know, Paulo. The other day, Gordon put out a post on Fittest of the Upstate. Who do you think is going to be the male elite winner of Fittest of the Upstate 2021? And you, my friend, I think got the most votes on at least that I saw. There was a lot of Paulo Passinis. So, are you going to do the Open this year? And are you going to try to qualify for Fittest of the Upstate?
Well, I appreciate everybody who voted for me. But when you have, athletes like Josh Miller, what's the name of that guy that just won?
Jason Hopper.
Jason Hudson. I mean, come on now. I appreciate everybody even just to think about me. But good Lord, like I'm talking like Josh Miller is like, when I competed against him like at the Beastmode games, and obviously he beat me, it's like one of those things like, man, this dude is fit, Mm-hmm. But at this point, I don't know yet if I'm going to do it. And the reason why is the Apogee team, actually. I've been talking a lot with Kara, and our plans for next year is to go to a team competition, a big one. Mm-hmm. I knew she already talked about Waterpalooza. Kara, you need to start swimming, girl, because they do have swimming. Waterpalooza, and then she's already talking about some other competitions. Mm-hmm. And that's where I want to focus now. Not so much on the individual ones, but I think the team competition, I think for now, for me, that's where it's at. That's where I still have fun. Mm-hmm. And that's why I want to continue to do it and push myself and go work out on the team aspect. Even like, because if you think about it, if you're traveling to Miami, it's one thing for me to go, book a hotel and then go by myself and go there and then, get my butt kicked and then come back home. Then if you go, with you and Laura, and Kara and Steve and the Apogee team, and now you're down there and having fun. Mm-hmm. And that's where I want to focus on moving forward. So I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do.
I think that's a lot of what a lot of athletes think now. it's hard. It's not hard to do single. It's not hard to, they have more fun with it as a team.
Yeah.
I mean, we're always grown. As our culture, as sports in general, it's team oriented.
Yeah.
The only sports that you play singly are swimming, wrestling, tennis, so the mentality for team is there. And
yeah. And honestly, with a kid and wife and working a lot, I want this to be fun. Right now, I don't want it to be like when, hey, I get home at 7 p.m. instead of me going to play my daughter. Now I got to go hit interval training on the rower because I have a competition coming up. And the team aspect, it gives you a little bit of more freedom to, still enjoy it and have fun and be competitive. We down to going to the I'm not getting enough hours of training, so I'm gonna leave my family downside and I'm gonna go train.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally
that's
get
how
that.
I feel it. And
Yep.
yeah. Plus, it's not 2013 anymore. I'm getting old, so
35. Just turned 35.
Well, it bears out though. I mean, the whole thing about the team aspect of it bears out in competitions. You see it more and more as years go by that teams are more. There's more team aspect of it than there are single athletes.
Yeah, like I said, I think I was talking to someone about they just went down to Myrtle Beach and did a team competition. I think it's just fun for you to go. Yeah. And then instead of if you're going by yourself and all the logistics is you got to go rent a car by yourself or take an Uber and then go eat or bring it home. I don't know, by yourself, I wouldn't go I don't know if I would go at this point in life to by myself to compete this becomes. But a team now you're talking about you can go have fun, you can go to the team, it can bring Brooke, can bring Glar. It's just changed, especially the Apogee team. I think it's so cool, and that's what we want to focus, at least for now. That's what I want to focus moving forward.
That's cool. So when you say the Apogee team, what's that?
Man, that's the David O'Keefe here. Had a pretty good concept of bringing, even more all the communities together with Apogee Podcast, and decided, hey, why don't we do a team? Thinking outside the box. Let's put a team together. We have so much talent in the upstate. Man, you won't believe how fit people are around here. And David was like, all right, let's put a team together. And then we start going competitions, and we wear t-shirts. David help us out if we have injuries and all this stuff, and it's been great. Kind of connect me and Kara and Steven. So we'll see what happens moving forward.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's really fun working with all the Apogee athletes, and if you guys don't know what that is, follow us on Apogee Therapy Center SC. You'll see a lot more about that. But just focusing on sports recovery, right? Just from not even from injuries, but just recovering from the daily grind of working out, Lots of cool little videos on there. So if you guys check that out, that's our plug for Apogee Therapy Center PT. But or SC is the handle, Apogee Therapy Center SC, but for physical therapy. But yeah, I think whatever you decide to do, whether you decide to participate in Fittest of the Upstate, just for
I'm
giggles.
Yeah, like I said,
that's cool. We're gonna support you either way.
But I appreciate it. Like I said, I might I will be pushing my athletes to go. I think it's such a neat concept.
It is.
Too.
It is.
But for me, it's not. Right now it's just I'm focusing on something else.
For sure. Yeah, man. And we're excited to see where the team goes and what happens. And I think there's, like you said, so much talent in the upstate, and it's just fun, right? Just watching it all happen. And so let's take it to rapid fire questions.
All right, rapid fire questions, Paulo.
Oh gosh,
what is your favorite CrossFit workout?
DT.
What is your DT time?
4:51.
Dang. All right. What's your favorite?
I just recently hit it, by the way. I don't know. It was.
See, that's what I'm saying, bro. You're peaking right now. You're 35.
I think that was the first workout back. First workout in the new box, and I guess I was just so excited, man. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. If I don't make it, who cares? Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna do it. And then
fast.
And I start bouncing that bar and I got round number 4. I looked at the time. I was like, man, I'm dying, but I want to do it. I want to go sub 5. So
Let me ask you this real quick. I don't mean to defray from it, but so are you don't think you're going to do the opening? Is it because of how they've changed it back to February? Like, was your mindset set to where, okay, the open's going to come in December, October or whatever? Were you on that mindset? Because obviously you've been doing CrossFit since 2013.
Yeah.
They changed it from being February to the back end of, October.
Yeah.
Was your mind kind of sort of in that realm where you're like, okay, I got to train, and now it's going to be in October, but now they're moving it to February? Because obviously you said you just peaked on DT. I mean, is that where it is in your frame of mind? You're like, I've got to go back and reschedule everything?
A little bit, but like I said, it's just like my focus is not there anymore.
Okay.
And I want to make it like more fun now.
I got you.
And fun to me is still being competitive, but on a team.
Gotcha.
No, I get that. I feel like back in 2015, 2016, when we were working out together and training, like your whole mindset was completely different back then to what it is now. I think back then you were really trying to be the best in the upstate, which you were,
Right.
Or at least top 5.
Yeah.
I think right now, I don't think a lot of people realize this, but this man juggles a lot of stuff on his plate, just like every other mid 30s, 40s person does, right? We all juggle a lot, but he is just extra fit on top of that.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, he could jump into that competition and podium. And I'm not just saying that. He could podium if he put in a little bit of extra work, at least top 5. And that's just being straight.
But DT, like, I love, if you know me, I love some barbell workout, and I love some clean and jerk, and cleans and shoulder over head type of stuff. One of my biggest, even like CrossFit, like, because I know you're a weightlifter, right? I'm a small dude. I'm 182, 185, sometimes 187. But in 2018, I actually hit a 350 clean and jerk.
That's more than I've ever hit. I like weightlifting. I like the concept of it. I like moving the weight. But I've like I said before, I had quit CrossFit basically, and then I got back, and so I'm close to my totals, but my totals were never huge. I'm not somebody who's going to go out there and clean and jerk 300 pounds. I'm just not. I'm frustrated that I can't.
Yeah.
And that's more mental and technique. It's the smaller fine points that I have to tune into.
Yeah, but funny stories kind of leading up to it. Like I said, I'm a small guy, but anyways, in 2014, I was at a little. That's when the Beastmode games wasn't big. They had one, and I think actually Brendan and Chris won that year. But that was I was doing CrossFit, and then I joined. That was my very first competition 2 months after I had started. I would still wear my pink Nike Pegasus shoes. It's like 3 inches of cushioning. It was a running shoe basically. And then one of the event was find your 1 rep max clean and jerk. And that day in 2014, I hit a 225, the ugliest clean and jerk you've ever seen. Because I was doing CrossFit for two months at a time. But I saw some of the guys hitting 275, 280. And when I looked at it, I was like, holy cow, man, that guy is so strong. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe it. So then after I hit the 225, I looked at my partner and I said, one day, this was in 2014, I'm going to clean and jerk 350. And he looked at me and he said, kind of laughed, but it wasn't like a mean laugh or anything. It was just like,
Sure.
that's
You're
funny.
crazy. Yeah.
Which it is.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it.
So what is your clean and jerk total?
My clean and jerk is 350.
And your snatch?
My snatch is about 255 to 260.
And your back squat?
440.
And your deadlift?
485. Currently
strong, dude.
But
currently though, it's 450. I don't do a lot of deadlifting.
How tall are you?
5'9", 5'10".
So you're basically a Froning framework.
Dude,
But
you
he's
are,
got
man.
15 pounds, 20 pounds on me. I cannot put
You couldn't.
muscle mass.
I think that was your favorite topic of conversation in 2015 and 2016 was Rich Froning. I want to be Froning.
But I mean, you
crush.
have that.
Yeah.
So you're saying a lot of things that I've heard him say.
Oh
so.
yeah, for sure.
But but then that thing kind of stuck with me, and then 4 years later, I happened to hit the lift, and when I hit it, I celebrate like I would like when I scored a goal. Like it was one of those things where like,
You run to the corner of the mat, rip off your shirt.
I wanted to rip my shirt off, but
You guys go back on his Instagram handle and follow him. You'll see that clean and jerk, and you'll see the celebration. It's pretty cool.
it was like one of those things.
He's
when you
wearing
kinda,
the red YMCA shirt.
Yeah, it was one of those things where you kind of go like, man, you did it, type of thing, you know?
Oh yeah, it's like reaching the mountains, reaching the goal. It's
that
huge.
was pretty cool.
So would you say that's your favorite CrossFit moment?
That and when I talked about the Brazilian championship CrossFit, that I went down there with such a high, amazing field. Like this event, I was from there, but when I got in, the guys that wanted to book a hotel for me, they'll pay and they'll pick you up at the airport. They'll take you to the event, which was held at the biggest stadium in my city. Like I said, they had the screen. People would have to pay ticket to go in and watch, and I was in front of my parents for the first time.
Yeah.
So and then it was a field of 30 individuals. And one of the event, dude, I swear to God, it was like we had to do a rope climb, and that rope was literally 300 feet up in the air or something like that. Obviously, you have the thing on your back, but I'm scared of heights, man. I don't know about y'all. So I did terrible in that event.
Yeah.
And then after on the second day, I was kind of in between like 15th place, 14th place. And I was like, I want to make in the final event in front of my parents. So then one of the workouts was originally you run around the soccer field and then you go through an obstacle course. And they said you had to do that 3 times. So I was like, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to go everything I got. Because if I place it well here, I might have a shot and get in the top 10 and make it to the final heat. So, and then we started. So it basically went from a 300-meter run. And then as soon as we run on the end of the first lap, this guy came in front of us and then told us to go somewhere else. So in my mind, going to the event was to be 3 rounds of 300-meter run plus obstacle course. It went from there to 3 rounds of a mile run with the obstacle course. And that was after the initial sprint.
Jeez.
Because it was a short workout.
Right.
It wasn't a mile, but it was like 0.75 or something like that.
Right.
And then and that mentally like kind of got me, but I wanted to make the final event. So I ended up doing really well, even though I don't consider myself a good runner. I ended up really well. The obstacle course was really good for me. And then I made it to the final event in front of my parents. So that's one of my proudest moments for sure.
That's awesome. All right, buddy. Tell us what song you're going to play when you're ready to rip out a 5-minute AMRAP.
I'm old school, man. I like Fort Minor, Remember the Name. You knew it was coming.
Used to crank that. Yeah, I knew that for sure. All right, you're up, dude.
All right. Well, you already. What is your favorite cheat meal?
Pizza, man.
Pizza.
I love some pizza.
If you could be any piece of gym equipment, what would you be and why?
I was gonna say barbell, but I think it would be too easy. I'll say sandbag. Why is so if you pick up a sandbag and it's not all the way, filled up, and it's kind of gonna take a shape of around your arms if it's not all the way full, and that's the ability telling me the ability to adapt to certain situations. How I've adapt coming to the United States and learning the culture, how I had to adapt to pretty much everything in life, man. Like everything changed so much, and for me to be able to learn a new language, a new culture, I don't know. Sandbag doesn't sound cool though.
Yeah,
sandbag,
that's awesome.
Sounds like you're sandbagging something.
Sure.
But I'll go with the ability to adapt
Cool.
out of that.
I like that. All right, man. Last question. It's Sunday in Madison, Wisconsin, and you find yourself in the top 3 of the CrossFit Games. Which 2 athletes would you choose to go head-to-head with for the top podium spot?
Oh, man. My man crush. Frony. Yeah, Frony and Frazier.
Frony and Frazier. Yeah, for sure, man.
For sure. What can you say about
that
those guys?
That was the thing, man. Like when we were working out together, Froning was still on top and Frazier was right below him. So he was always Froning and I was Frazier.
I'll just be Lucas Parker.
But I wasn't even close to that. I was just an average Joe. He was actually good. All right, man. So loved having you on this podcast. I think a lot of people saw a side of you that they didn't really know. Love talking about the Beastmode program and how that's growing.
So where can people get a hold of you? Like social media, you know?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Paulo Passini BH, and people ask me about the BH come from. It's Belo Horizonte, where I was born and raised, basically. You know, I'm at the YMCA in Powdersville. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere right now, but that area is growing so much, and you know it. That 153. Basically, you take the exit out of 85, then you get on 153. Then get on 81, and right there, it's 15 minutes from downtown Greenville. So it's a great location, beautiful campus. Social media
and then the Powdersville Beastmode handle.
Yes, and I've been handling that the Beastmode Powdersville Instagram account. Yep.
Yeah, so hopefully if you guys ever have a chance, get down there, see that facility. It really is beautiful. Me and Kevin are heading there tomorrow with a couple other athletes to do a workout. Which we're gonna photograph and maybe film, so get on social media and watch that. But if you get a chance, go check that gym out. Hopefully we can get pretty awesome beast mode games running up in that facility again, because it's perfect for it with the pool right there. Anyways, thanks for coming on, man. Love ya. You heard it here. Apogee Podcast.